Hi, good evening, good morning. So, this is the 54th video recording of my communication practice, and today I'm going to continue reading about uh, 7 habits of highly effective people, and we are going to read the maturity continuum. Now, in this part, author is speaking about the difference between independence, dependence, and interdependence, and uh, how they impact how they impact our life, how they impact ourselves as a human beings, and what is why are we talking about this while we are trying to build a habit. So I'll start. The 7 habits are not a set of separate or piecemeal psych formulas. In harmony with the natural laws of growth, they provide an incremental, sequential, highly integrated approach to the development of personal and interpersonal effectiveness. They move us progressively on a maturity continuum from dependence to independence to interdependence. We each begin life as an infant, totally dependent on others. We are directed, nurtured, and sustained by others. We are talking about a child when a child is born, and the process of that child growing up. Without this nurturing, we would only live for a few hours or a few days at the most. If we will leave child for as it is and don't do anything about and don't help him grow, not help him nurture, then that's what it happens with a child. Then gradually over the ensuing months and years, we become more and more independent physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially, until eventually we can essentially take care of ourselves, becoming inner directed and self-led, the youth that you and I are. As we continue to grow and mature, we become increasingly aware that all of nature is interdependent, that there is an ecological system that governs nature, including society. We further discover that the higher reaches of our nature have to do with our relationships with others, that human life is also interdependent. Our growth from infancy to adulthood is in accordance with natural law, and there are many dimensions to growth. Reaching our full physical maturity, for example, does not necessarily assure us of simultaneous emotional or mental maturity. On the other hand, a person's physical dependence does not mean that he or she is mentally or emotionally immature. So it doesn't matter if you are 22 or 32. Maybe the person who is at 22 is more mature than 32. Maturity and emotional intelligence doesn't come with age. That I am very much certain of, because it happens with me. My emotional maturity coming with age. When I was 28 and when I was 30, I understood what 28 maturities feel like, because I can see the connection among my friends. So on the maturity continuum, dependence is the paradigm of you. You take care of me, you come through for me. You didn't come through, I blame you for the results. Dependent people need others to get what they want. Independent people can get what they want through their own effort. Interdependent people combine their own efforts with the efforts of others to achieve their greatest success. Now, here author is describing the difference between dependent people, interdependent people, and independent people. If I were physically dependent, paralyzed or disabled or limited in some physical way, I would need you to help me. If I were emotionally dependent, my sense of worth and security would come from your opinion of me. If you didn't like me, it could be devastating. If I were intellectually dependent, I would count on you to do my thinking for me, to think through the issues and problems of my life. If I were independent, physically I could pretty well make it on my own. Mentally I could think my own thoughts. I could move from one level of abstraction to another. I could think creatively and analytically and organize and express my thoughts in understandable ways. Emotionally, I would be validated from within. I would be inner directing. My sense of worth would not be a function of being liked or treated well. It's easy to say that independence is much more mature than dependence. Independence is a major achievement in and of itself. But independence is not supreme. Nevertheless, the current social paradigm enthrones independence. It is the avowed goal of many individuals and social movements. Most of the self-improvement materials puts independence on a pedestal, as though communication, teamwork, and cooperation were lesser values. But much of our current emphasis on independence is a reaction to dependence, to having others control us, define us, use us, and manipulate us. The little understood concept of interdependence appears to many to smack of dependence, and therefore we find people often for selfish reasons leaving their marriages, abandoning their children, and forsaking all kinds of social responsibility, all in the name of independence. The kind of reaction that results in people throwing off their shackles, becoming liberated, assertive themselves, and doing their own thing often reveals more fundamental dependencies that cannot be run away from because they are internal rather than external. Dependencies such as letting the weaknesses of other people ruin our emotional lives or feeling victimized by people and events out of our control. Of course, we may need to change our circumstances, but the dependence problem is a personal maturity issue that has little to do with circumstance. Even with better circumstances, immaturity and dependence often persist. True independence of character empowers us to act rather than be acted upon. It frees us from our dependence on circumstances and other people and is a worthy liberating goal. But it is not the ultimate goal in effective living. Independent thinking alone is not suited to interdependent reality. Independent people who do not have the maturity to think and act interdependently may be good individual producers, but they won't be good leaders or team players. Like as we say in programming, if you are in tech, you will say individual contributor in a tech and a team lead. So that's what is a differentiate. If you are an independent player, you will be individual contributor. Something like that, I think author is explaining here. They are not coming from the paradigm of interdependence necessary to succeed in marriage, family, or organizational reality. Life is by nature highly interdependent. To try to achieve maximum effectiveness through independence is like trying to play tennis with a golf club. That tool is not suited to reality. Interdependence is far more mature, more advanced concept. And if I am physically interdependent, I am self-reliant and capable, but I also realize that you and I working together can accomplish far more than even at my best I could accomplish alone. If I am emotionally interdependent, I derive a great sense of worth within myself, but I also recognize the need for love, for giving, and for receiving love from others. If I am intellectually interdependent, I realize that I need the best thinking of other people to join with my own, and I have realized this. When I am talking about this intellectually, I have my certain ideas, and when I am talking with people who have their certain ideas, and when we talk with each other, we found some really good ideas around it, and we find some new knowledge around it, and that's a really good example of being interdependent intellectually. As an interdependent person, I have the opportunity to share myself deeply, meaningfully with others, and I have access to the vast resources and potential of other human beings. Interdependence is a choice only independent people can make. Dependent people cannot choose to become interdependent. They don't have the character to do it. They don't own enough of themselves. And this is what will be ending a chapter here. And the author will be talking about going from dependent to independence in first 3-4 habits, and then from independence to interdependent in the next few habits. And he's not saying that for going you need to wait to be independent to go into interdependent, because they will work hand in hand, but because you will know it on a daily basis how you are going through it. And that's what we'll be reading in the next few chapters. So that's it for today. Thank you. Bye.